బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ లో నేను ఫాలో అప్ చేసుకుంటూ ఉంటాను సార్.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
Okay, good evening to everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the concepts of object-oriented programming through Java. So as you know that our Java is pure object-oriented programming language. So later we will discuss whether it is pure object-oriented programming or not. So initially let us see what is the use of an object-oriented programming and how it is linked to our Java. Because we are saying that Java is pure object oriented programming language. So initially we have to understand why Java is object oriented programming language and how it is related to our Java. So let us see that initially. So for that we are going to see as a concept we are having that a way of viewing the world. That means how we are going to see the world in the form of objects. So I'm going to take one small example to explain this. So I'm taking a small example. See here, right? So see here, one person called as Harish. Harish want to send a flower bouquet to Krishna, or for example, Sita. For example, Harish want to send a flower bouquet to Sita, who is staying at. For example, Harish is staying at Hyderabad, and Sita is staying at Vijayawada. For suppose. So generally, what happens if I am trying to send a bouquet from Hyderabad to Vijayawada in a post, for example? So automatically flowers are going to be wasted because flowers cannot be there in a pack for more than 2 or 3 hours. So what is the solution for that? Generally, what we are going to do means, so Harish is going to a flower florist who is nearby. So let us consider there is a florist nearby Harish house. Let us say his name as Venu, for example. So Harish went to florist and he is going to tell some information. Tell some information. So this is nothing but what? Message passing. So Harish is going to pass a message to whom? To florist called as Venu. So that what happens? The task of Harish is completed. That means what Harish is going to tell to Venu means I want to send a flowers to Sita who is staying at Vijayawada. And what florist is going to ask? So, okay, tell me the address. That means he is going to give additional information also. The main task is what? To send the flowers from Hyderabad to Vijayawada, and he is going to give additional information that is nothing but an address. So, other than main task, he is providing some additional information. So, now after receiving a message from Harish, after receiving a message from Harish by Venu, now the responsibility of this florist Venu is what? The main responsibility is he has to send the flowers from Hyderabad to Vijayawada. See now, the responsibility is transferred from Harish to Venu. So now what this Venu has to do? So now see, there are many different type of methods he can use. One is directly he can go to Vijayawada and he can give that, or he is going to send the flower bouquet from here to Vijayawada and so on. He can do any type of alternatives what he is going to have. He can have many alternatives, but so one main solution is better solution is this Venu is going to call one more florist who is present in Vijayawada, for example. So his name is Krishna, for example, Krishna. So just he is going to call to a florist who is staying at Vijayawada, and he is going to pass some information now. That is, so he is going to call and he is passing some information. What is that information? So please arrange the bouquet by having some flowers. And he is the main task is what here? Sending the bouquet to the Sita. And now what this florist is going to tell to him? He is going to tell, please send the bouquet to Sita to this address. That means what he is going to add some more additional information. That is nothing but address. So now tell me who has given whose responsibility is to send the flower bouquet from Now to Sita, it is the responsibility of Krishna. That means what? By passing a message from Venu to Krishna, the responsibility is going to be changed from Venu to Krishna. Now, whose responsibility is to send the bouquet? It's Krishna's responsibility. Now, see what this Krishna is going to do. Now, the time is 9 o'clock, for example, 9 p.m. and Hari said that Sita has to receive a bouquet tomorrow morning 8 a.m. for a suppose. So now what happens here? So just he is going to pass that information. Hari is going to record that information in a book. For example, he is having some book here. He is going to write some names. Sita, the bouquet has to be received at 8 a.m. So he is going to close his shop after 10 o'clock, for example, and he left to the home. Next day morning, what this florist is going to do? He is going to do many activities. Let us see that now. So this florist is going to contact gardener, for example, gardener. And gardener is nothing but he is the owner of the garden. So just he is going, this Krishna is going to tell to gardener that, sir, I need the flowers, roses, and I need some other lilies and so on. He has given some list of flowers to this gardener. So gardener is not going to pluck the flowers from the garden. Again, he is going to inform to other, for example, his servant is there in gardener in garden there is a servant, so gardener is going to send a message. What? Observe carefully here. So the message is passing between the persons here, we have to understand here. So from florist to gardener, some message is going to be passed, and from gardener to servant, some other message is going to be passed. Now, finally, servant, what servant is going to do? He is going to pluck the flowers from the garden and he is going to give it back to gardener. So, flowers were given to gardener and he is going to take that flowers and he is going to send back that flowers to Krishna. Now, finally, Krishna got flowers for preparing a bouquet. Now, what Krishna is going to do? He is going to prepare a bouquet and finally he is going to send a bouquet to Sita. So flower bouquet, for example, he is going to send it to Sita. So finally my task is done here. So what is my task? It is very simple task to send the flowers from one place to another place. That is from Harish to Sita, who one is staying at Vijayawada for suppose, and another one is staying at some other place, Hyderabad or Vijayawada. Okay. Now observe carefully here. Here the main motive is what? Why I am explaining all these concepts means because how we are going to see this world. That means what? This is a task that is going to be done in our real world. Now we have to observe this and I have to relate this entire real time situation to our object oriented programming. So observe carefully here. What happens if you see this entire structure? So from here to here, this entire thing is what? It is going to all these different people are involved to perform only single task. So many people are involved here to complete a task. The main task is what? To send a bouquet from Harish to Sita, from Hyderabad to Vijayawada. That is main task completed. Task is completed, but internally what happens, let us see. So this is nothing but, entire thing is nothing but a community, a group of people, we can also say a community of agents. So I don't want to use a technical term here, but let us talk before going to see this example. I will tell you a small example. So let us consider I want a passport urgent. It's very urgent because in 10 days I want to leave from India to Hyderabad, but till now I am not having any passport. So if I apply a passport through online, if I want to book a slot, it will take too much time. So that what I am going to do, I don't know what to do now. So just I am going to a person who is called as passport agent. He is an agent. The purpose of that agent is what? To he is going to provide us suggestions how to get the passport, or he is going to take some documents and he is going to do entire process to get a passport. So I reach to passport agent and I'm going to tell to this agent that I require an passport immediately and I'm going to pay some money to him. Now see here why I'm going to why I'm going to call this particular person as an agent, because he is a person who is going to perform a particular task. The task of passport agent is what? He is going to see the related tasks which are related to passport. If I go to some other agent, for example, license agent or LIC agent, it's a better example. LIC agent, what that agent is going to do? He is going to see all the different types of policies which are present in LIC. So that I'm calling him as what? Agent, LIC agent. In the same way, if you see this scenario, he is one agent who wants to send the flowers from to Sita, and he is an agent who is going to prepare the bouquets, and he is the agent who is going to prepare the bouquets, and he is the agent uh, who is going to see the garden, and he is going to he is an agent who is going to do the work in a garden. He is an agent who is going to receive a bouquet, for example. That means what? Here all these are agents. All these are agents are involved in what? To do a particular task. So to accomplish a task in real world, we require what? Group of agents or community of agents. So the task is here, what they have done here. So finally what they have done here, each and every agent is communicating each other. See, observe here. Harish has communicated with Venu, and Venu has communicated with Krishna. Krishna has communicated with gardener, and gardener has communicated with the servant. In the same way, Krishna has sent the flower bouquet too. So let us consider, he went to the Sita's house and he is going to communicate with Sita by giving the flower bouquet. That means what here? To accomplish a task, group of agents are going to communicate each other so that our task is going to be successfully executed. And here there are many other different types of object oriented concepts are going to be involved here. That is, first one, what Harish is going to do, he is going to florist and he is going to pass some message, which is nothing but the concept of message passing. What is that? Message passing. And next one, by passing the message to the florist, the responsibility of sending the flowers is going to be taken care by florist. So here Harish is one agent and he is going to communicate with other agent. And now the responsibility of florist is what? To send the flowers to Sita. Very important point now. Observe carefully. Now tell me that how florist is going to send the flowers to Sita. Is it required by Harish or not? Again, I'm repeating, the main responsibility, now the responsibility of Harish is shifted to Venu, because already Harish has passed some message to send the flowers to the Sita who is going to stay in Vijayawada. Now florist, what florist has to do? Florist responsibility is to send the flowers to Vijayawada. Observe carefully. Here there are many methods are there are many ways. One is he can go by flight and he can give the bouquet. Another one is he can send by a bus. Another one he can send by a courier, or he is having many ways. So whatever the way your Venu is going to do, is it necessary by this Harish? No. The method that is implemented by Venu is not necessarily known by the Harish. It is not necessary to Harish. But what Harish wants, he wants his work to be done. Now the concept is here, whatever the method that is executed by Venu is hidden from other agents. Now observe carefully here. Method hiding. The concept is called as what? Method hiding. In the same way, every agent is going to pass information to other one, and whatever the task, for example, clear example. So see, for example, license agent is there. License agent is there. Now I have given some money to him. So do I want what he is going to do internally, and the money is given to whom? I don't want anything. Finally, I require what? License. That's it. That means what? Whatever license agent is going to be done, it is not required to be known by me. That means what? Whatever he is going to do is hidden. Whatever the task he is going to do is hidden. But finally, outcome is going to be required here. In the same way here, so the task, the method, whatever one agent is going to be done is not necessarily known by your other agents. So now observe here. So the task of this one is just giving the message to him. Now the task of this one, this particular florist is what? Venu is what? He is going to call some other person called as Krishna, and he is going to pass information. And what is the task of this florist? Again, he is going to send some message. And the task of this gardener is to provide the flowers to the Krishna. And what is the task of servant? He has to pluck the flowers from the garden and he has to give back to gardener. That means what? To accomplish a single task, group of agents are involved and every agent is going to have some task. Again, I'm repeating, to accomplish one single task, there are group of agents involved in this one, and each and every agent is going to have a particular task. So if they accomplish the task correctly, the entire task is going to be successful. If any task is not, if anyone is not going to do his task successfully, the task is not going to be successful. For example, observe carefully. Now see, for example, Harish has given some information to Venu. Venu is not going to take care. That means what? Okay, he said okay to the Harish, and Harish went to home, and Venu forgot about this message. Then what happens? This Venu is not going to do his responsibility. Then automatically what happens? The task is not going to be done. So whenever there is a group of agents involved to perform a single task, compulsory every agent is going to have a particular task to perform, and whatever the task that is going to be performed by an agent, it is not necessarily should know by any other agents. It is not compulsory. So this is about, now I can compare this example with our object oriented programming concept. If you see this one, how it looks like, it is a structured way. That means what? Harish is going to florist, florist is going to other florist, florist is going to call gardener, gardener is going to tell to servant. Again, the flowers are going to be given to florist, and finally, florist is going to prepare a bouquet and giving to the Sita. It is a structured way. That is means what? It is a structured way where you can see a community of agents. That is nothing but a group of agents. So if I compare this one to object oriented programming, what can I say? So an object-oriented programming is structured as, that means what? It is structured as a community of interacting agents. So if you observe this one, here what you can observe, each and every agent is going to communicate with each other, interacting with each other. So that I can say what? It is nothing but community of interacting agents. Each and every agent is called as what? Objects. So here if you observe, already I have told you that each object, so agent, I am calling agent in our real world. If I am comparing this agent in our object oriented programming, I can call him an object. So each object has a role to play. So if you see anyone in this one, in this particular community, if you see any agent, he is having a particular task to do. So every object has a role to play. Each object provides a service. I told you, every task, everyone has to provide some service to accomplish a task, or he can perform any action or any task he has to perform to complete a main task. So that is used by other members of the community. That means what? Here if you observe, what Venu is going to do, he is going to call this one. So what florist is going to do, he is going to call this one. Whatever the service he is going to do, it is helpful for what? Mainly Harish and Sita. So I can say finally, an object-oriented programming structured as a community of interacting agents, or we can say we are calling these agents as objects, interacting objects. Here in this community, we can say that each object has a role to play. That means what? Every object is going to have some task to perform. So each object provides a service. That means what? Every object is going to provide a service here that is used by other objects. So we can say that finally, this is the definition of our object oriented programming when we are comparing with our real world. So already we know that here what is meant by message passing. I told you. So by passing a message, what happens here? One in this community, one agent is going to pass a message to another agent or object. So then what happens automatically? The responsibility is also transferred from one to another. Then automatically that particular person has to hide the data. He's going to implement a method which is not requiredly known by the other persons, other agents. Okay. So what we can say here, the responsibility is very important, that is taken by the objects. Right. So here mainly if you are talking about object oriented programming, two things. Yes, anyway, I think this is clear now. I'm going to clear this one. Right. Now observe carefully. Now, if you are talking about object-oriented programming, mainly we have to see two things. One is classes, another one is objects. So first, let us see what is meant by classes. See, observe. So as I am comparing our object-oriented programming language to our real world. So basic things with an examples I am going to discuss here, and I am telling the definitions of these. But coming to our Java, Java is object-oriented programming language. So there I will discuss about programming language. That is what programming related things. But as I am comparing our object-oriented with the real world, here I am going to show you some examples and I am going to compare those examples with our definitions. That is the concept. Okay, right. So if you see a class here, so if I want to make you understand, so that for example, fruit is there. General example, fruit is there. And otherwise, there is a faculty. There is a faculty or a student. I am going to take three things here. So first I will explain about fruit here. So let us consider tomorrow there is a fruit festival in our class, for suppose. So what I am going to ask you is to bring a fruits to our to the college, for suppose. So what you are going to bring, sir? I will bring apple. You brought an apple. Other person has bought a custard apple. Another person has brought some grapes. In the same way, pomegranate and so on and so on. Here, my question is, what I told you to bring? I told you to bring a fruit. What you brought? Apple, custard apple, grapes, and pomegranate. Again, I'm repeating the same question. Listen carefully. What I told you to bring? I told you to bring a fruit. But what you bought? Apple, custard apple, grapes, and pomegranate. So you may think that, sir, what is there? Whatever we bought is correct. Yes, whatever you bought is correct because this apple, this is called as an apple, which is a fruit. This is called as custard apple, which is a fruit. Same grapes, fruit, pomegranate, it is also a fruit. That means what? I am calling all these as fruits because all these four are having the properties of what? Fruits. That is, see here, what fruit is going to have generally? Taste, next shape, next color. By seeing these type of things, we are going to categorize the elements as a fruits here or entities as a fruits here. So fruit is nothing but a class. Fruit is nothing but what? A class. Class is nothing but, see, class is logical thing. Logical, this is logical. It is not going to be existed in a world. See, if I ask you to show a fruit, what you are going to show me? You are going to show me an apple or custard apple or grapes or pomegranate. That means what? You are not going to show me a fruit. Then what are all these? These are called as an instances of a fruit, which is nothing but what? Instances of a fruit, which is called as objects, which are called as what? Objects. So this is about the difference between class and an object. Class is not going to be existed in memory. Objects are going to be existed. Better example, see, let us consider who is going to present in a class in our section classes. Students. For example, Harish is a student. Hari is a student. Venu is a student. Shiva is a student. Prem is a student. And Channa is a student. For example, so if I ask Hari, he is going to tell what? I am a student. See, that means what? How he can say he is a student? Because he is the object type of. He is the object type of what? Student. If let us consider who can read in a class, for suppose who can read in a class, student can read in a class. So I want to make Hari to read. Can Hari can read the book? Whether he can read or not? Yes, he can read. Reason, student is a class who is having the properties like reading, writing, and also for example listening. These three tasks can be done by a student. So I am going to create Hari, who is a student, creating an object. For example, see here, student Hari equal to new student I am going to write. That means what here? Internally an object is created. This is an object. This is an object. By writing this statement, I am going to get an object, and it is pointed by what? Hari. So Hari is pointing to which object? Student object. So now observe what happens. So if I say this one as an object of a student, whatever this student is going to have by default are available for this object listening. Okay. Now tell me what Hari is referring to, an object which is of type student. So what Hari can do? He can read, he can write, he can listen. That means what? Here, student is not presented in our real world. Who are present in our real world? Hari, who is a student, Venu, who is a student, Shiva, who is a student, and so on. Objects are existed in this real world. Only classes are logical things which are not existed in real world. So that I can say that all objects are instances of a class. Without class, there is no object. Without class, there is no object. Without, if I want to create an object, compulsory class has to be there. Okay. So here what happens, what I shown you here, Hari can read. That means what? The method invoked by an object in response to a message in our, for example, Hari is going to tell in an object what is there. Hari is a reference. He is telling what? Read. Can Hari can read or not? Yes, he can read. Next, Hari dot write for suppose. Yes, he can write. Hari dot listen. Yes, he can do that. But Hari dot run, for example, I am calling Hari dot run. Can he do that? Is run method is present with a student? Is it compulsory student has to run? No. So that property is not present in a student class. So if it is not present in an object, and if I try to call that one, then what happens? Automatically we are going to get an error because Hari don't know how to run. Okay. Right. Okay, please be in mute. Right. So if in the same way here, I told you about Hari. In the same way, I am talking about Shiva once again here. Who is a student here? Who is a student? Now again, Shiva is also getting which properties? Read property, write property, and also listen property. So that here, by observing these two, what you can say, the objects of same type, Shiva and Hari are both student types only. So by observing these two, what can I say? Means all objects of given class, that means what? Hari, Venu, Shiva, Prem, and Channa, all objects of given class use the same method. That means what? For example, Hari dot read. For example, if I told Shiva to read, which method he is going to use? Read. If I told Hari to read, what happens? He is going to use a method called as what? Read only. That means if I say Shiva to read, he is going to perform one task which is similar to, if I say Hari to read also, he will perform the same task. Again, I am repeating. If the objects are same, for example, you are the students who are sitting in a class. What I am telling is, everyone read the polymorphism definition. If I say this one to a students, what every student is going to do? All are students there. So everyone is going to do the same task. Student 1, same polymorphism definition. Student 2, same polymorphism definition he is going to read. That means what? Same object for a same message. If the object is same, that object is going to respond the same way. Again, I'm repeating. If object is of same type, here Shiva and Hari are which type? Student type. If I am going to give a message called as read, the response of Shiva is same, the response of Hari is same because both are same objects. Okay, right. So this is about class and objects, which are very important to our object-oriented programming. Next, one of the important principle of our inheritance, sorry, that is what object oriented programming, that is class hierarchies. Class hierarchies. All right. So, which can also be called as inheritance, as you know that inheritance. Sir, what happens here? Observe carefully. I am talking about real human being. We. So that is human being is there first. So now I want to talk about uh, right. Let us talk about students, players, students, players. Next, faculty. For suppose, listen carefully here. Now, human being is a class. Human being is a class. Okay. So now I am going to get two classes under this. One is male, another one is female. Now tell me here, if you observe this case, what happens here? Male and female are what? Male and female both are human beings. What is that? Both are human beings. That is one minute. 1 minute, please. Right. Anyway, so here male is a one of the human being, and also female is also a human being. So now that means what? Here I can say that male extends the properties of human being. So male is having a properties of human being, female is also having human being properties. Now observe here, male is getting the, for example, male is getting the, I want to talk about a students who is male. So students, I am talking about students. Students are, can be a male, or students can be what? Female also. That means what? Some students are acquiring male class properties, some students are acquiring female properties. Okay, a better example of general example of this one is grandfather. Listen, this one will be better. Grandfather. After this grandfather, you can take father. After this father, we can take it as a child. Okay, after child, we can take grandchild. Okay, this will be a better example. Listen carefully. So here what happens? Let us consider grandfather is having 10 acres of land. Now, so for grandfather, there is only one son who is nothing but a father. So whenever grandfather is going to get 70 years of age, he is going to give his properties. For example, now tell me all the properties of grandfather will be given to whom? Father. So now father himself having for example, 5 more acres on his own now. Now tell me what father is going to have 10 acres, which is given by the grandfather, and also 5 acres on his own. Again, child is going to get the properties of what? His parent. Here, child's parent is what? Father, for suppose. So, what child is going to get? Total 15 acres he is going to. I don't know whether grandfather has given 10 acres to father, or 5 acres he is going to bought on his own. I don't want all these things. Just what I am going to get here. Just I am going to get that. Just the properties of the parent class. Okay. So here what happens? These 15 acres are given to child. Again, child is going to give the for suppose he is not going to have any acres on his own. So what happens? Same 15 acres which is given by the father will be given to grandchild. If grandchild is very what is that he can say, he is very hard worker for suppose, and again he may gain some other 10 acres. So the concept is here, class hierarchy is nothing but an inheritance. So here we are going to show you what getting the properties of one class to other class. So this is very important concept. If you see this concept here, what you can see, each and everything is a class. Okay, each and everything is a class. They are organized in hierarchical way. Hierarchy, this is an hierarchical way, which we can say it as an inheritance structure. So what happens in this case? A child class or a subclass or a, here we can call C. So let us take A and B here. A and B here in this way I can take. A is called as parent class. or I can call it as a super class, or I can call it as a base class. Now, this can be called as a child class, or it can be called as a subclass, and it can be called as a base means derived class. So here the final statement I can give is a child class will inherit all the attributes. That means what attributes are properties of parent class. Here in this case, I am going to consider A as a parent. Whatever the A is going to have, that attributes and or properties are given to the child class. Okay, in the hierarchy, if you see this hierarchy, so what happens? Grandparent to father, sorry, grandfather to father, father to child, and child to grandchild. So this is about inheritance concept. Okay, right. Next, coming to one more basic concept, that is nothing but method binding. So, so as these are very basic concepts which are related to our real world, I am explaining all these concepts. Method binding. So very important. What is meant by method binding means? So this is my brain. For suppose this is my brain. I am I am going to have some methods called as read and write. And for example, reading Sanskrit. For example, I am going to have a method called as read of Sanskrit. I can read English. Observe, read of English and read of Telugu. I know these languages for suppose. So in my brain, if I am going to talk about any read method, oh, so here I am going to read Hindi also. So in my brain, how many methods are there? One is I can read Hindi. Second one, I can write. Third one, read Sanskrit, read English, read Telugu. Some person is going to call me. Someone is going to call Shiva, read, Shiva, read English. Observe carefully. So now what happens in Shiva brain? What is there? Is there a method called as read English? Yes. So that this method call. So how to read will be present here. How to read will be present here. So this method call is going to be connected to or bind to this particular method. This is method definition. Let us consider this is method definition. I am going to have how many method definitions? 5 method definitions for suppose. So whenever I am going to call any method, this is nothing but a method call. So whenever I am calling a method, which method has to be executed? That will be decided at two times. One is compile time, two in one of the two ways. That is what in compile time. Another one is runtime. So if I call Shiva.read of English, so as it is overloaded method, it will be taken place at compile time. If it is overridden method, the concept will be taken at runtime. So the binding, that means what? You have called Shiva.read English. So if I call this one, which method has to be executed? So that two will be binded. So this one and this one is going to be combined together. Combined together. Method call and method definition are combined together, and we can say that concept as what? We can say that one as method binding. This method binding concept will be seen in our polymorphism concept, where we are discussing about method overriding and method overloading. So finally, I can summarize this. One thing I want to tell you that in every object oriented programming language, we can say that everything is an object. And I have shown you how the community of agents are going to perform a task, and each and every objects having its own task to perform. And each and one important point I want to tell you, every object is going to have its own memory. Its own memory. Remember that point. Okay. Next, you know that every object is nothing but instance of a class. And if we are going to consider any class, generally a class contains what? Methods and data. Remember that a class contains in general methods and data. But someone will say that class is nothing but group of objects. Class is nothing but what? Someone will say that group of yes. If we speak that group of objects, we may not see group of objects in the class, but we can say that it has a group of objects. Reason, because if we see a class, for this class I can create what? Group of objects. So in English, what they will say, for suppose what they will say means, I am home. Better example is one. I am home. Meaning is what? I am at home. So I reached home. The meaning of this one is what? I am home. There is nothing but I am at home. But what they are saying, I am home. In the same way, if I say class is a group of objects, it is nothing but what? If for a class, I can create group of objects. But if you see a class, generally it contains what? It contains methods and data only. So next, after that, we have seen about what is meant by an inheritance. So with this, we have completed the basic concepts which I can relate to our real world. Now, let us start the concept of Java. So this is, as we are having the concept of introduction to object-oriented programming, we have seen all these concepts. Now coming to our Java, till now I have discussed about object-oriented programming concepts related to real world. Okay. Now, suppose, okay, better to compare one more example to our real world. That is nothing but exceptions. Exceptions. So generally, there is a florist is there. In our example, there is a florist, and one more doctor is there. My friend doctor is there, and I want a task called as preparing a bouquet. It's myself, me. Now I want to tell someone here. Two friends are there to me. I want to tell to prepare a bouquet. Generally, the message has to pass to whom? Florist. Again, florist. That means what? Every time, whenever I want to prepare a bouquet, I want to tell to florist. Whenever there is a health problem, I have to go to doctor. Whenever I'm having a health problem, I have to go to doctor. Unfortunately, I asked doctor to prepare a bouquet. Unfortunately, I asked doctor to prepare what? Bouquet. In this case, what happens? What doctor will say? Doctor will clearly say that what you are saying, I don't know what you are telling. How I can know? How I can know how I will prepare a bouquet? That can be said as what? Exceptional case. So exceptions can be arise because of these type of situations. So I will clearly explain whenever we are dealing with our exceptions concept. Right. So now let us start the concept of Java. So before going to enter into anything, from basics onwards we have to enter, so that I am going to tell you what are the basic elements that we have to see in a Java. So observe carefully what you are listening now. You are listening Java. So before going to listen to this subject, first you should know some concepts like it is a programming language. First you have to know it is a programming language. Next, which type of programming language? Object oriented programming language. Without knowing this concept, if you learn Java, C, C++, Python, or any other language, there will be no difference if you are not knowing it as a, whether it is object oriented, whether it is a procedure oriented, or whether it is object oriented and procedure oriented. So compulsory before going to do any job, remember that carefully. Before going to perform any job, it may be any task, please understand the task initially. Later start or perform that task. Right. So here, sorry, I have written programming level. It is programming language. Okay. So programming language. So now Java is what? Programming language. So first let us discuss, already we have discussed what is meant by object oriented programming. Now let us discuss about programming language. So observe carefully. So in this programming language, I will discuss about a language. So I will discuss somewhat fastly. Reason it is not such important to understand. But as we are discussing programming language, you should know what is meant by a language. So what is a language? So see, two human beings are there. If these two human beings want to communicate each other, they require some medium. For example, air is a medium. If I'm talking to you, our internet signals are the medium to reach the data from me to you. Okay. Now, so what I'm speaking, my medium is what? English. For example, I'm speaking in English. So if I want to communicate with another person, I am using a language called as English, in such a way that if a human want to speak with any other human, then he requires any human languages like English, Telugu, or Hindi, or any other languages. All these three languages, for suppose, those are called as human languages. Reason is what? Because these languages are going to be used to communicate between whom? Human beings. So those are called as what? Human languages. Now observe, one human being want to communicate with a computer. So computer knows binary language. Computer knows which language? Binary language. And this human knows what? Human languages. That is what? English, for suppose. Here English, and here which language? Binary language, where we are going to have zeros and ones only. But here in the human language English, we are going to have what? A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on. Okay. So now the concept is, if a human being knows English and a person, other computer knows binary language, if human being speaks in English, that your computer cannot understand. Reason, your computer knows what? Only binary language, that is zeros and ones. So that, so he cannot communicate with English. No, it is a problem. He cannot communicate with binary language. Reason is what? Human don't know binary language and your system don't know English. So what happens? In between, someone has to there who has to convert English to binary, so that the communication will be done correctly and the task is going to be executed successfully. Okay. Now I will talk about this mediator. Okay. Let us see that. Right. Now see, I am talking about programmer. That means we are programmers. Programmer is there, and your system is there. Your system is there. So this is your system or computer. Now, programmer is going to do what? He is going to write a program. He is going to write a program. Which program it is? Java program. What is the main task of a programmer? To accomplish a task by writing a Java program. So what he has to do? Let us consider a small program. He want to find a prime number. So he has written that code inside this file. In which language he has written? Java language. He has written which language? Java language. So that, is Java language is known by your computer? No. So that in between someone is there. In between two softwares, one software is there which contains compiler, which contains what? A compiler, and also JVM. These two are there in between our Java program and system. What it is going to do? Just my Java program will be given to compiler, and if every syntax is correct, then it is going to convert that one to a class file. Which file? Class file, or it contains what? Bytecode. It is going to contain bytecode, and this class file will be given to JVM, which contains a bytecode. Finally, that bytecode is converted to zeros and ones. So finally, what happens? You have written, programmer has written a Java program, and that program is given to compiler. It checks whether the program is written correctly with the syntaxes and all. If it is correct, it is going to create one intermediate file called as class file, and it contains a code called as bytecode. And this file is going to be given to a JVM, which converts our bytecode to machine understandable language. Which understandable language? Machine understandable language, which is nothing but machine code, binary language. So finally, what happens? I have given a message to our system so that it understands that. So finally, whatever the task we have given to our system will be executed. This is the concept. Here, entire this scenario, what is our task? Our task is to make our system to understand our requirement. So by writing a program, so which language we have to learn now? Java. If I know Java, I will write a Java program. So that Java compiler will understand, JVM will understand. Finally, JVM converts our code to binary language. So that I have to learn Java now. Okay, right. So that now I am learning Java. If you are going to learn anything, first basic thing is identifiers, because in a programming language we have to identify something. What is that something? How we are going to identify them means by using the concept of identifiers. Remember that any name in Java, any name in Java is an identifier, is an identifier. For suppose I am going to consider general example, int a equal to 10. What happens here? Internally, one memory location is going to be created and 10 value is going to be placed in this. Now, what I am asking is, what is this a? Generally, we'll say a is a variable, but observe carefully. This memory location is a variable. Variable is what is the meaning of variable? Variable is nothing but which varies. Which varies is called as what? A variable. This memory, the value that is present in this memory can be varied. So that I can call this location as what? A variable. So to refer this location, I am going to keep a name called as A. So that A is nothing but an identifier. Okay. So which is nothing but a name of a variable. Let us suppose I am going to take one method, void m1. Now observe, to represent this block of code, I am going to give one name called as m1. What is that? M1. So m1 is a method name. So that to identify this block of code, I am using a method name which is nothing but an identifier. Again, it is an identifier. So next case, class A. For suppose it is what? Class A. So to identify this block of code, which is a class, I'm going to keep this name. So here M1 and here class A and here variable name A. All these are called as what? Identifiers. Any name in Java is called as an identifiers. It may be array name, it may be variable name, enumeration name, any name, interface name or any name is called as what? Identifiers. Okay, okay, sir, understood. I have understood what is meant by an identifier. Tell me what are the rules, how I can write the names in our Java for a human being. For suppose human being, for example, my name is Shiva. So why I got name as Shiva means my mother regularly worship a god called as Shiva, Lord Shiva. So that the name of that god is given for me, for example, by my parents, completed. Or even, for example, my friend name is Ramarao. So why he has given a name called as Ramarao means his mother and father are fan of Ramarao, NT Ramarao. So that they have kept that name for that particular person. In the same way, human is going to follow some rules to keep the name of a human being. For example, your grandfather name, grandmother name, god name, goddess's name, friend name, hero name, heroine name, and so on. Or some nickname, my wish, it may be my wish. Humans are generally following these rules to place the name of a human being. But coming to our Java, how the names of Java will be there? What are the rules we have to follow? That is nothing but I am talking about rules of identifiers, which are nothing but if you want to write any name in Java, what I have to follow. First one, if you want to write any identifier in Java, it has to contain small a to z, capital A to z, and 0 to 9, and only two symbols. One is underscore, another one is dollar. Only these things has to be present in our identifier. That is, for suppose Shiva is identifier, valid, correct, no problem. Next, Shiva underscore 3, valid, no problem. Shiva 2, valid, no problem. Dollar IVA, valid, no problem. Reason, if you observe these four examples, all these four are containing only the characters I have shown you in the first rule. Yes, come to second rule. Yes, anyway, digits can be there in our digits can be there in our identifiers, but the problem is digit. That means what? Identifier should not start with identifier should not start with digit. Should not start with digit. Right. That means what? Here, observe carefully in this example. So to Shiva. So what here? This identifier is going to start with what? Digit. It is not valid. If you want to write S2IVA, valid. SIVA2, valid. No problem. All these two are valid. But this one is not valid. Reason. Here you are going to start an identifier with a digit. This is the second rule we have to observe. Next one, no length limit. That means what? No length limit. Here, if you want to write any larger name, larger identifier, you can write it. For example, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. For example, and so on, I am going to write and I am placing 25. Int, I am going to write larger name and I am going to place what? 25. It is correct. There is no problem. There is no length limit. You can write n number of characters in the identifier. In the identifier, there is no problem. But the problem is, whenever you want to use it once again, then what we have to do? The entire thing I have to write once again, which is somewhat complex. Is it recommended? No. It is recommended to take an identifier of length maximum 15 to 20. Sir, can't I take more than that? You can take it, but I'm not recommending to you. If you take it, what happens? Once again, whenever you want to refer it or use it, again, full name has to be written there. Next one, reserved words. Observe carefully. Reserved words cannot be used as identifiers. Meaning is what? Meaning is nothing but internally some words are there. Those words are, for example, if, else, int, float, next try, catch, and there are many reserved words are there or keywords are there. Why we are calling these words as reserved words? Meaning, for if internally some definition is given, so that this if is reserved for something. For else also they have given some definition and some operation to perform, so that something is reserved for this internally. So that if you want to write, for suppose, int else equal to 20, here we are going to get an error. Reason? So reserved words cannot be used as an identifiers. Next one, next point, and which is the last one, last point here. So here what you can observe, reserved words cannot be used as an identifier, and last point is case sensitive. These are very important points. Case sensitive. Observe carefully. I am going to take int a equal to 20 and next int capital A equal to 30 for suppose. So as we are human beings, if I ask you, please tell me the value of A. If I am asking you, tell me what is the value of A. Among you, 28 students, what you can say? Sir, A value is 20. Someone will say that 20. Some other students may say 30. Both are correct because human beings don't care about the cases. It may be lowercase or it may be uppercase. The human being is not going to care. If I call A, it may be capital A or it may be small a. It is A according to human being. But coming to our programming languages, here it can differentiate this one and it can differentiate this one because Java itself a case sensitive language and also identifiers also are what? Case sensitive. If I call this A, I am going to get 20. If I call this A, I am going to get 30. Your Java can identify lowercase and uppercase. So that I can say what? Your Java identifiers are case sensitive. And finally, last point, class names which are inbuilt and interface names can be used as identifiers. So this small one you have to understand. Internally, there is a class called as thread. At least I think you know this basic. So just what I am going to write, int thread equal to 20, I am going to write. Observe carefully this point. Int thread equal to 20, I am going to write. So thread is a inbuilt class which is present in a lang package. So that if I print thread, no problem, I'm going to get answer as 20. There is no restriction of taking the names, sorry, class names as an identifier names. In the same way, I can take, for example, float, some runnable. Runnable is also an interface equal to 20.5f, floating point number. So if I print a runnable, I'm going to get 20.5. There is no problem. But problem is, sir, here you have written thread, sir. If you are new to language, what you will ask, sir, is thread is a class or what is this? I am unable to understand. So that it is not recommended to take here. It is not recommended to take class names and interface names as identifiers. What are recommended rules? This one, second one, no length limit, but it is recommended to take length limit as what? 15 to 20 only. Next, reserved words should not be used and it is case sensitive. Don't go to this point. It is better recommended because it may lead to confusion for you. Better don't go for class names and interface names. Sir, if I go, what happens, sir? There will be no problem. But it leads to confusion. So, as now you understand that how to keep the names. So, the concept of identifiers is completed. So, after identifiers, let us see what are the data types that are available in Java. As this is a basic, observe carefully. If you are going to talk about any programming language, what is the task of a programming language? The main task of a programming language is the main task of a programming language is to perform the given task. It may be any programming language. Let us take Java, C, C++, Python, Fortran, or any language, Go language, etc. The main task is what? To perform a task. Task will be performed by methods or functions. In our Java, I can say it as a methods. Let us take one small concept, real-time example. I am giving you a small operation. Please add. I said you to add. What you are going to, sir? Please tell me which numbers to add. That means what? I have given a task to you, but you are not performing that task. Reason? A lack of data. That means what? You require what? Data also. That means compulsory to perform a task. I require what? Method or action. And I require what? Data. Every program requires method and data to perform a task. Second case, I have given you two values 25, 10. You are waiting something to be listened from me. That is what? Sir, what I have to do, sir? You have given two values. What I have to do? That means if I have given data it only, you cannot do anything. Compulsory, I have to give what? Method also. So compulsory method and data has to be there to accomplish any particular task in any programming language. So that now I want to talk about initially about the data. So data plays a major role in any of the programming language. So that let us discuss what are the different types of data we are having in our Java. So as it is simple, I will complete as fast as it is. So as fast as I can because it is important, but it will be very simple to understand. Right. Let us start that. So mainly I am going to categorize our data types. So if you categorized our data types, mainly we are having numericals. Numericals. Next one, we are going to have what? Characters. Next, I'm going to have one more Boolean type. So in these three ways, I can categorize your data types. Next, coming to numericals, I am going to have integral numbers or integral types. And coming to second one, I am going to have floating point types. Coming to characters, there is nothing to categorize again. Just I'm going to write directly data type here. Again, coming to integrals, I am having four. Very important, listen. First one byte, second one short, third one int. Generally, I will follow only this order. It is recommended to follow only this order. Reason I will explain. So first I will show you the all data types here. And coming to floating point types, there are two. One is float, another one is double. and these are the six numerical data types that are available in Java. Coming to characters, I'm having only one data type, that is char. Coming to boolean, there is one data type called as boolean. If you observe these all cases, what you can observe here, all these are data types, and every data type is having a lowercase only. You have to observe this one. Every data type is what? Lowercase only. It is case sensitive. All inbuilt reserved words or keywords are what? In lowercase. So totally how many data types are there? 8 primitive data types are there. These are called as what? Primitive data types. Very important point. These are primitive data types. So firstly, I have to tell you about, sorry, here I have directly written, these are primitive data types. So if I want to talk about this, data types is of two. One is primitive and other one is non-primitive. So whenever we are going for the object-oriented concept, there you can observe this non-primitive. So now currently we are discussing about primitive data types. So primitive data types are 8. So those are shown here. So each and every particular integral numbers I will discuss. Next I will discuss about floating point. Coming to characters I will discuss, and boolean I am going to discuss in detail. So first let us go for integrals. That is nothing but I will discuss about four different types. So first one, if you see byte. So clearly I will tell you everything about this. Byte. Next one short. Next one you can take. See again I am repeating the same order. I will tell you the reason also here. So if you are going to any data type here, all these four are what? Integral numbers. So, sir, what is the need of all these four data types? It is better to take any one because four are going to store what? Integers only. Why these four? There has to be some reason. The reason is, let us see the sizes and ranges of these. As you know that byte means how many bytes? In the name it says it is a byte. So that is nothing but 1 byte. So how to remember all these sizes? So that I told you to remember this order. So double this byte size. It gives you 2 bytes, which is nothing but size of a short. Again, size of a short is what? 2 bytes. Double it. Now we are going to get 4 bytes, which is the size of int. Again, double of 4 bytes, which is nothing but what? Size of long, which is nothing but 8 bytes. Okay. So this is about sizes of your integral data types. Next, coming to ranges. So before going to see these ranges, I have to make you a clear picture about how the range is going to be defined. Now let us take, as you, I think you know, digital logic design where we are dealing with zeros and ones. I will take, there is only one bit location and I am naming this location as A. So how many bits can be placed in this location? First time I can place 0, second time I can place 1. That means what? If you are having only 1, that is nothing but 2 power 1 values I can place, that is 2. Now let us consider there are two locations that is named as A and B. So in this how many I can place? 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. Total how many I can place? If I am having 2 bits, I can place 2 power 2, that is nothing but 4 values. In the same way it is 3. We can place how many values? 8 values. So remember this example. Now you can understand how the range is going to be defined here. So now observe here. So 1 byte means I am writing in the bits also 8 bits, here 16 bits, and next you can see here 32 bits and 64 bits. Now listen carefully here. First for 2 or 3 I will tell you the ranges. So remember one point that numericals, all numericals, that means what? Numericals, how many types are there? 6 types are there. So 6 types are nothing but what? These 4 and again float and double also comes under your numericals. All as these are numericals, we are going to have positive and negative numbers. Remember this point carefully. Positive and negative. So that here 8 bits means how many different values I can store. Already told you 2 power 8 different values I can store. That is nothing but 256. So 256 different values I can store. As I told you what? As these are numerical values, I can have what? Positive and negative. So now if you divide this one by 2, I am going to get what? 128. So 128 negative values has to be there, and 128 positive values has to be there. So minus 128 to minus 120, sorry, minus 128 to minus 1, total 180 values given to negative, and 0 to 127 which are positive are given to positive side. Completed. Task is completed. Now, instead of writing in this way, it is better to write minus 2 power 7 2 plus 2 power 7 minus 1. You may get one doubt that, sir, here we are having 8 bits. Here we have discussed about 8 bits. Why you are discussing about 7 bits only? So remember this point. After demonstrating all these 4 ranges, I will tell you that point. Okay. Right. Now observe here. Here 16 bits. I don't want to write the again one value and divide by, for example, here this one, and finally I will write this one 3, 2, 7, 6. As I know, I am going to write here. Please don't buy hard all these ranges. Then how to remember, sir? Just see the size here and decrease one value and write plus 2 power 15 minus 1. That's it. Enough. So no need of writing this one. If I write this one as a range, observe this. You cannot remember this value. 2147383648. Sir, how you have remembered this one? As I have teaching the same subject for multiple times, nearly 25 to 30 times. I am able to remember all these values. So it is not recommended to remember all these things by you. Just remember in this way. Now tell me what happens in this case. Minus 2 power 31 to plus 2 power 31 minus 1. In the same way, I am unable to remember this one because it is a too much larger number which is unable to remember by me. So that just I am going to remember in this way. 2 power minus 2 power 63 to plus 2 power 63 minus 1. So in this way, we have to remember the sizes and ranges of these particular integral numbers. Sir, you told that you will tell me one important point about that why it is 2.7. So now I will discuss in detail about one thing, that is byte. If we understand byte, this concept will be same for all other short, next one int and long. So just I will explain byte. What is the size of your byte? 8 bits. 8 bits. So, but I am taking range as what? 2 power 7 2 minus 2 power 7 2 plus 2 power 7 minus 1. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, observe here. Here, first bit, this is first bit, is going to be given for sign. Sign. Observe carefully here. That is 1 means negative. There is so much to explain about this one. 1 means negative, 0 means positive. Okay, right. Now observe here. 1 means what? Negative, 0 means what? Positive. So here for data, how many bits are remaining? 7 bits are remaining. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I write maximum value of, if I place 2 power 7, I'm going to get what? 128. This 128 is what? I have to give for positive and I have to give for negative. So that I'm going to get what? Minus 128 to plus 127. Sir, give me an example, sir. So let us take one value. Byte A equal to 10. How to write this value inside this? So I know 10 value is 1010 and these are zeros. These are zeros. And is it a positive value or negative value? Positive value. So that here I am going to place what? 0. So if it is a positive value, in this way we are going to keep. Now observe very important point. If I want to keep a negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now see, if I want to place, for suppose byte A equal to minus 10, there is some procedure to be noted here. That is, I cannot place negative numbers directly into our memory. Again, I'm repeating the same point, which is very important. I cannot place negative numbers into my memory directly. But if it is a positive value, I can place as I have shown you here. But now I am talking about a negative, sir. What I have to do, sir? You have to do what? Just take 8-bit number for suppose. So including the sign bit also you can take 0000 1010. This is nothing but what? Value of 10. Now I want minus 10. Sir, how we can convert the positive number to negative number means just to perform 2's complement. What is that? 2's complement. If I want to perform 2's complement, it is nothing but 1's complement plus plus 1. 1's complement plus 1. Now 1's complement is nothing but changing the bits into, if it is 0, change it to 1. If it is 1, change it to 0. So as it is 0, I am changing it to 1. 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So this is what? One's complement. I have to perform what? Two's complement. Just I am adding 1 here. So finally 1 plus 1, it is nothing but 2. 2 representation is 1 0. Here 1 1 0 1 1 1 1. Now observe here, I am writing same value here. 1 1 1 1 0 double 1 0. Now this is the value of minus 10. So in this way, I can represent. How you can say this is positive or negative? Observe this last bit. How it is here? 1. So that I can say it as a negative. How here it is 0. So I can say it as what? A positive. That meaning is what? Sir, if I observe 1, it is a negative. Okay. Sir, how I can say? By seeing this 1010, I can say it as a tensor. Because if I convert binary to decimal, it will be converted to tensor. But observe carefully now how a human can understand the value which is in negative. Same thing, don't worry about anything. Just to take that value, again convert that value to 2's complement and place negative sign in front of that. That is same 0000 1001. This is 1's complement plus 1. What happens? 1 plus 1, 2. There is nothing but 1 0. 100000. This is nothing but what? 10. Just to place minus. So answer is what? Minus 10. So this is the way how every integral type is going to follow. So just I have shown you about byte. The same thing will be converted to, the same thing can be happened in your short, integer and also in long. Okay. So that you have to observe what? The main data is present here on in 7 bits only. So that I am taking here 7. In the short, what happens? 2 power 15 only. 2 plus 2 power 15 minus 1 only. And so on. Here I have explained entire concept because you have to understand why I am talking only about 2 power 7 and 2 power 15, 2 power 31, 2 power 63. You have to observe all these cases. Okay? Right. So this is about what? That is nothing but why minus 128, sir? Because it is required or sufficient to take 7 bits for minus 128. There is no problem. If I talk about 127, the value of 127 is what? Plus 127 is what? 11111111. 7 bits are required to this. Okay. So that 7 bits are sufficient for minus 128 and plus 127. In the same way, for any other short also, it is required 15 and minus, sorry, 2 power minus 2 power 15 to plus 2 power 15 minus 1 is sufficient. So that this is about your integral data types. How is going? It is going to store in memory. Now observe here, just sir, why bytes sir, why short sir, why int sir, why long sir? There is no need of knowing in detail about this. Reason, byte is what? Just 2. We can store what? Minus 128 to plus 127. If my value is bigger than or larger than that, I have to go for what? I have to go for a short which can store minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Int, sir. This is also not sufficient, sir. Then go for what? Int 2147483648 where 21474836 sir. Integer also not sufficient, sir. Then go for long. Here big larger value will be there. Some students may ask one doubt that, sir, long also not sufficient, sir. There is no other data type to represent a longer values other than long. Long If the value is larger than long, there is no other primitive data type, but there is a class called as big integer. You have to go for a class. Okay. So as a primitive data type, we are having maximum up to this one only. That is the reason why we are having four different values. Completed. Sir, okay, sir. We have understood about the concept of data type, integral data types. Let us see, sir. I am going to create a variable, sir. Int a equal to. Now you can understand what a is which type? Int type, sir. A is which type? Int type. Now, very important point is, sir. Okay, sir. I know how to create a variable. I have created that. Now tell me here, which values has to be placed? Which values has to be placed? 20, correct? 10, 30, 45, 105, 108, 2147, 32, 21. I can write which range? Up to where I can write? I can write minus 2147 and so on to plus 214748 and so on 47. So up to here I can write, which is nothing but a range of your integer int. But my concept is, I want to ask you that what happens. So, what different types of values I can take it here. So, that is nothing but here, see, in the place of this question mark, what I can take. So, generally, you know the concept of number systems. So, I can take in this place, I can take binary values, I can place octal values, I can take decimal values, I can take hexadecimal values. Very important point. Generally, we don't know about all these number systems. Just we will use only decimal number system. So that you have to understand one important point, that in this place, there is nothing but int a equal to, if I write, I can place these four number systems. Sir, okay, sir. Let us take a small example. So I want to write a binary where I want to write 10 value. If I write a equal to 1010, by default in Java, every number is a int type. That means what? It is int type, and in int also it is considered as decimal. Okay, default number systems followed by integer types is decimal. You think that the value is in binary and it is going to be 10, but it has considered this value as 1010. So the a value is what? Answer will be 1010. There is nothing but 1010. But sir, I want to represent it in a binary, sir. Yes, now observe, int a equal to represent a value as a binary, we have to use 0b, not ob, 0b. It may be in lowercase or it may be in capital letters. There is no problem. It is 0. First one is 0. Second one can be either lowercase b or uppercase b. And now write 1010. Now observe carefully. In this case, what happens, sir? Compiler starts compilation from this side and it checks what? Sir, starting 0b is there, sir. That means meaning is what? What your compiler will understand? Okay, if it is 0b, the meaning is what? Whatever you are taking is what? Whatever you are taking is binary. If it is binary, then what are the values you should have here? Zeros and ones. So that I have taken only zeros and ones. In second case, this is valid, there is no problem. Finally, what is the a value means? As you are thinking this one as a binary, it is a binary, but while storing the value into your a, it will be converted to decimal. That means what? Now a stores what? 10. If I print a, I will not get 1010 in binary. I am going to get answer as what? 10. Reason, every element, that is generally every element is going to be stored in the form of binary internally. But in Java, while your variables are going to store, it will store internally as a binary, but while giving as an output, it will be given in the form of decimal. So that answer will be what here? 10. Okay, sir. Next case. Now see, 0b102, for suppose I have written in this way. By seeing this, by writing this, what you are saying, I will write the binary. Okay, 1, okay, 0, okay. What is this 2? Binary means what? You can take only two digits. Those two digits are nothing but what? 0 and 1. So instead of taking 0 and 1, if you are taking any other value for binary number system, you are going to get error. So next case, octal. Octal means what? 8. Here, how many values you can take? 0 to 7. Decimal means what? 9. No, sorry. Decimal means what? Total 10. From 0 to 9. And coming to hexadecimal, total 16. From where to where? 0 to 9 and A to F. So I will give you one for everyone, one example for every type. So int x equal to represent a number as octal, please write down 0 in front of a number, not O, 0 in front of a number. If I write 0 and for example I am going to write 12, the meaning is what? Whatever you are writing here is which type? Octal type. But while storing, it will be converted to what? Decimal. There is no problem. Internal conversion will be done by our compiler. There is no problem. But whatever you have written is what? It is considered as octal number. So in octal, you have taken 1, 2 because you have written what? You have written 0 in front of the number, which indicates octal. So if you want to write decimal, for decimal, there are no notations. There is no prefixes for that. Just write down the number. That's enough. If you are not using any prefixes, that means what? If you are not writing anything in front of a number, it may be 0b or 0 or 0x. It is considered as decimal. So as it is decimal by default, the x will store the same value here. There is no problem. But coming to this one, hexadecimal, hexa. So x is sound. It sounds like x. So the representation here, what I have to use prefix 0x. That x may be either lowercase or it may be uppercase. So here what I have to write? I can write from 0 to 9 or A to F. That is for suppose 3A 9C. It is valid. There is no problem because I am saying this number as what? Hexadecimal. So in hexadecimal, all these values can be there. So it is valid. But we have to remember one point that while this value is going to store in A, it is going to be converted into decimal. And finally, when you print A, you will not get 3A 9C. It is not going to be generated. It is going to give me what? The decimal equivalent of 3A 9C. Some value is going to be generated here. So this is about the concept of literals. That means what? I have explained only about int here. The same rules are applicable for byte and the same rules are applicable short and also long. Okay. At one more point, one very important point. Now observe that point is what is the maximum value of int? I am taking maximum value. Int a equal to 2147483647. It is valid, 100% valid because this is the maximum value that can taken for the int type valid. Now, sir, I want to take this value, sir. Is it valid or invalid, sir? It is invalid. What happens? The size of your int is too long. Remember, very, very important point. If I write int a equal to 10, now question is, this 10 is which type? Is it, what is that, byte type or short type or int type or long type? By default, if you are writing any number, any integral number, by default, it is what? Int. If you write maximum value here, if I write 7, for suppose if you observe here, for suppose if you are going to observe here, I am going to remove this. I am going to remove this and placing 7 here. And if I place 7 here, it is valid because the maximum, this is an integer. By default, it is an int type. And what happens here? It is a maximum value of int. There is no problem. But if I change this value to 8, by default, if I write any number, it is which type? Int type. So that it is going to consider this number as int. But if it is an int, what is the maximum value? It has to be up to 47 only. It is 48. So that the error it is going to give you what? Integer size is too high. Integer length is too much. Okay. Or integer is length is too high or too lengthy. Integer value is too lengthy. Now, what we have to do, sir? For these type of values, I am going for a long. Now, observe carefully. I can take this value for long. There is no problem. But while executing this value, also same type of error is going to be given. Reason, by default, this number is which type? Int type. If it is by default int type, the maximum value of int is what? Up to 47 only. Again, you have written 48. Then what I have to do, sir? How to make it as a long value? Just place L. Just place L and keep semicolon. If you are taking lesser values than int range, no need of keeping L. That is, for suppose long k equal to 30. For this, there is no need of writing L because it is within the range of int that can be stored directly into this. So if you place 30L also, there is no problem. But coming to the value which crosses the range of int, compulsory we have to place what? L as a suffix. It may be, it is either small l or long L, there is no problem. We have to place what? L. So this is about your, what is that? Integral types and integral literals. Now I'm talking about the concept of floating point numbers. Which numbers? Floating point types. So here, as we know that there are two types. One is float, another one is double. So observe here, as you know that size of this one is 4 bytes, and I don't want to mention any size range here. If I mention the range also, it is not required because you know that why we are using float and double values for decimal values. If you want to see what is the range, I will show you. There is no problem. Here it is what? Double to float. So if I want to say some range for this one, your for float 4 bytes, no, so that we are going to get 1.4 e power so e minus 4052 3.4 e plus 038. Some range is there. No need of remembering all this. Just you have to understand what you have to understand that both float and double are used to store what? Decimal values or floating point numbers. The sizes are what? 4 bytes and next one is what? 8 bytes. Everyone will get one doubt that, sir, here float is for what? Double is for what? I think both are for decimal points only. No? That is what uh, floating point numbers only. No, then what is the difference between them? Very important differences you have to understand so that it will be very easy to understand this concept. So that first I will differentiate that. So first one, as you have seen there, size of float is 4 bytes, size of double is 8 bytes. First difference is completed. Next, sir, why we have to go to float, sir? Reason, if we want to store, that means what? If I want to write any number, 3245, for example, it is called as a floating point number. So this floating, if it is a floating point number, see here, after decimal point, how many places are there? Only 4 are there. That means if you want to take up to 8 places, it is recommended to go for float. Float can take up to 8 values. Sir, I want to take more than 8 values, sir. For suppose, then it is recommended to go for what? Double. Up to 16 places you can go to there. Okay. Next, third one. This is called, this representation can be uh, viewed as single precision and this can be called as double precision. So it follows single precision, it follows what? Double precision. And here both of them is going to have a standard that is nothing but IEEE 754 standard, which is given by IEEE. So these are the basic differences between your float and double. So now observe this is about floating point numbers. Now, okay, sir, completed. If I am going to write some number here, 23.57. Sir, what number is this, sir? Which number is this? I am going to tell you this. It is a floating point number. Then, sir, which type it is? I know it is a floating point number. Which type it is? Because we are having two types. One is float and double. So by default, if you are writing any floating point number, it is what? Double. That means what? This is which type? Double type. So if it is a double type, let us see the examples. Float f equal to 23.57. So what happens? You think that, okay, sir, f value is 23.57, but here it gives you an error. It gives you an error. Reason, already I told you, if you write any floating point number, if you write any floating point number, by default, it is which type? It is double type. Double is having size of what? 8 bytes. So that this is 8 bytes by default and float is how many bytes? 4 bytes. So 8 bytes cannot be stored in 4 bytes. That is the concept, as we know that. So what happens? I have to, if you want to make this double as float, just keep F. After the number as a suffix, please keep F. So that what happens? 23.57 is converted to float. So now float can be stored into float. There is no problem. Double cannot be stored in float, but float can be stored in float. So by default, floating point numbers are double. So to convert a double to float, we have to use a F as a suffix. Now observe here, double x equal to 23.89. Is it valid or not? Yes, it is valid. Reason is what? This is a floating point number. By default, it is a double, and x is also a double type. There is no problem. Okay. Now, sir, it's okay. I understood about this. Now tell me which type of values that I can give for a double. So as that means what? Now I'm discussing about literals for a double. So if I write this one, which type of values has to be given here? Please listen carefully. It is very, very important. Now, first point I want to discuss is whatever you are going to write in a decimal, that is floating point number, all numbers has to be in decimal. Decimal means what? 0 to 9. For example, 30 to 328.97. I can say this one as a floating point number because here what is there? Decimal point is there in between a number, in a number. So that if it is a floating point number, compulsory every digit has to be what? Decimal. So 0 to 9, every digit has to be in between 0 to 9 only. Yes, it is valid. There is no problem. Next one. Second point. Second point, observe carefully. Let us consider, I am taking the same example, double x equal to, now I want to take, you know that binary we have seen hexadecimal. I want to take hexadecimal numbers. So 0x 728 a.3 for suppose. Now what happens? Observe here. So this is a 0. There is no problem because in decimal 0 to 9 are there. Then this it sees x directly says what? So you are trying to form here point is there. Here point is there. And so by seeing this point, it can understand what? This is which number? Floating point number. So if it is a floating point number, it has to contain what? Only 0 to 9. What is this x here? Just it is going to tell you malformed floating point number. You are forming a number
Sir,
which is malformed.
screen is not sharing.
1 minute, Amma. So for others, is it sharing? That means I am seeing in two different systems. So that in other system it is viewing. So please confirm either in chat box.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Amma. Thank you. Right, Amma. So now here again I'm repeating, if it is a floating point number, that means if a number is going to have any point in between the digits, then it is treated as floating point number. If it is treated as a floating point number, it should contain only 0 to 9. Then what is this x? So that your compiler will say that it is nothing but a malformed floating point number. Like this is the other rule. Come to next one. Okay, sir, I understood about this. Now, just I will take x equal to 0796.3. Now, you think that it is a invalid. You think that, sir, as you said here, hexadecimal is not valid. Here, you said that 0 means what? Octal. So, is it not valid, Sante? No, it is valid. Sir, how it is valid, sir? Observe carefully. Here, dot is there or not? Yes. If it is dot, what do you have to think first? It is a floating point number, sir. Okay, sir. Now, if it is a floating point number, what should be there, sir? 0 to 9 has to be there, sir. So, see here, it is 0, it is 7, 9, 6, and 3. Is there any other digit which is not present in decimal? No. So that here it is not treated as octal. Not octal. It is what? Just a 0. So it is 100% valid. There is no problem. But coming to one more case, last case that is remaining. So equal to 0b 1010.1 for suppose. So what happens? You by seeing this point, you can understand what it is a floating point number. But if it is a floating point number, it has to contain what? Only 0 to 9. As it is 0 valid. What is this? B. I don't know. So that you are going to get an error as what? Malformed floating point number. So this is first point. Now let us go to see second point. Sir, if it is a floating point number, you are saying it has to be decimal. Let us consider, I am not going to take floating point number now. I am taking one more number, double some d equal to 25 for suppose. Now tell me, is it valid or not? Yes. If you are going to take any number, it is by default what? Int. Int can be stored in double. There is no problem. So how it is going to be stored? Now D contains what? 25.0. It is valid statement. Now the point is here. Is it a floating point number? Can you see any decimal point in it? No. There is no decimal point, so that if a number is not going to have a decimal point in it, what we can say that number as? Integer or integral numbers. If it is an integral number, then how many forms we can have here? Same, binary, next one octal, decimal, hexadecimal. If it is a floating point number, there is a rule that it has to contain 0 to 9. If it is not a floating point number, then I can have anything. There is no problem. Now observe. Double D equal to, I am writing C now, 0x832. First question, is it a decimal point, sorry, floating point number? No, because there is no decimal point in between. So that I can have hexadecimal, so valid, no problem. Next, double D equal to 0, 6, 7, 3. Sir, now tell me, is it 0 or octal, sir? First point is it a floating point number? No, it is not a floating point number. If it is not a floating point number, it will become what? Integral number. If it is an integral number, if we write 0 in front of a number, it acts as what? Octal. So valid, there is no problem. Now finally, double D equal to 0B1010 for suppose. So here, is it a floating point number? Is there any point in between? No. So that it acts as what? Decimal. So if it is if it is an integral, if it is an integral, it can have 4 number systems. In that I can take binary. It is valid. So right, if it is, if number is, what is that? If number is integral, we can have what? Same, binary. Next one, octal, decimal and hexadecimal. So these are the important rules that has to be followed whenever you are giving literal to a floating point number. So one more important point to be discussed whenever we are discussing about these floating point numbers, that is, here there is one more notation. Sorry, one more notation is there. So for a double, I can take in this way, observe, double x equal to 10e2. This is called as scientific notation or exponential form. So, or sorry, exponential form or exponential notation. So what is the meaning of this, sir? So if your compiler is e in between numbers, it consider it as a floating point number, and by default floating point number is what? Double. So it treated as double. The meaning of this one is 10 into 10 power 2. What E meaning is what? 10. Because already told you what? If it is a floating point number, it has to contain what? Decimal numbers. Decimal means what? 10. So it is going to act as what? 10 into 10 square. So the answer is what? 1000. As it is double value, I am going to write dot 0. So this value is going to be stored in this x. So this notation is called as scientific notation or exponential form. So this is about the concept of, observe here, in this case, as it is floating point numbers, we can have what? Negative numbers and positive numbers. Till now, I have discussed about numerical data types. In all these 6 primitive data types, till now, whatever we have seen are treated as numerical types, and every numerical type can have positive numbers and negative numbers. Now, finally, we are remaining with two different types. That is, first one is char data type. Now, char means what? It can store characters. It can store what? Characters. Sir, what is the size of this char? 2 bytes. 2 bytes. And what is the range? So 2 bytes means what? 16 bits. And 2 powers, I will discuss it later. Let us, before going to see that, let us see now one important point. So coming to char, so just for suppose, if I ask you, please tell me some characters, what you will tell, sir? A to Z, sir. A to Z, sir. Total 26, sir. Sir, capital A to Z, sir. Capital letters, sir. Again 26, sir. Sir, numbers are there, sir. 0 to 9, sir. Total 10, sir. And some special characters are there. Sir, I will tell you nearly 25 special characters, sir, for suppose. So that means what? 6, 6, 12 plus 5, 17. 2 plus 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Totally, you can tell me only 87 characters. How many characters you can tell me if I ask you? Maximum of 100. Okay, I will take 100 characters. 100 characters you can tell me. But here, if you talk about 2 bytes, which is nothing but 16 bits, total number of characters are 65,536. How many? 65,530, sir. We are unable to tell more than 100 characters, sir. What are these 65,536 characters, sir? Means, so it starts representing from 0 to 65,535. So representation from where to where? So total characters are 65,536, which are represented from 0 to 65,530. What will be there, sir? 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. For suppose 65, 97, and so on. Last number is what? 65,535. These all are called as Unicode. This code is called as what? Unicode. For every Unicode, there is a character. For suppose, for 65, we are having a character called as A. For 66, we are having capital B. For 67, we are having capital C, and so on. In the same way, for 97, we are having small a. For 98, we are having lowercase b, and so on. For every Unicode character, we are having one character. So for every Unicode, we are having one character. Sir, okay, sir. The concept is what are the characters that are present in Unicode? That is what 65,536 characters are what, sir? So listen carefully. We are talking only about English, but our Unicode character set, that means our Java char data type is speaking about all the languages in the world which are registered for the governments, or we can say clearly that which can be written, the language which can be written, all the alphabets of those languages, sir. Will there be Telugu language? Yes, Telugu language alphabets are there. Will there be Hindi language? Yes. Will there be Urdu language? Yes. Malayalam? Yes. Tamil? Yes. Kannada? Yes. Japanese? Yes. Arabic? Yes. And so on. Whatever the language that is present in our world, all the language alphabets are present in our Unicode. So that we are having these many characters which are represented from 0 to 65,535. And one more important point is here these are characters, not a numbers. So that here only indexes starts from 0, positive numbers only will be there. Okay. So this is about character or char data type. And sir, how to represent character literal, sir? That means what? So int a, if I want to talk about integer, just you will write int space x equal 10, sir. But how about character, sir? Char space, take some name. It may be any name as per the identifier rules. Now here, character has to be represented inside a single quotes in this way. Now, I am going to give a character called as A to your X. Now, X contains what? A character called as A. That's it. Single quotes has to be there, and inside that single quotes, only one character has to be there. let us suppose char y equal to AB. So single quotes I have written. So this is valid, this is invalid, because if you are placing a single quotes, only one character has to be there. Next, sir, is there any other representation, sir? Yes, there is one more representation, that is Unicode representation. For suppose char A equal to Unicode representation contains single quotes, backslash u, and I can have four characters here or four digits here. Listen carefully. Single quotes, backslash u, and next what? You can have four different digits, and these digits are in hexadecimal. These are in hexadecimal. Sir, what, sir? Show me one example. So, char A equal to single quotes, backslash u, and A324. So, I can have here what? These digits are considered as what? Hexadecimal. So, while storing in A, what will be stored, sir? Character related to this Unicode will be stored. Again repeating, character corresponding to Unicode will be stored in this A. Better, I will tell you small example. Char x equal to 97, sir. You will get one doubt. Sir, what, sir? You are giving numbers to character. Yes, I am giving numbers to a character. Up to how many numbers you can give, sir? I can give from 0 to 65,535. If I give 97, X is which type? Char type. So it can store what? Only characters. It cannot store numbers. Then how you are giving 97? If I give 97, what is the corresponding character for 97? If you observe here, it is nothing but small a. So that if I give 97 in this X, we are going to get what? A. A value I am going to get. So I have got one message saying that screen is not sharing to me. So please don't mind, because many other students are going to be seen the same screen. Once again, please log out and once again come back to the Zoom meeting. Okay, right. So 97. So observe that numbers also can be given, but the number has to be only within the range of 0 to 65,535. If I give 65 for suppose, then what is the character I'm going to get? I'm going to get character as A. Numbers also can be given for character, but it has to be in range. If I cross this range, I'm going to get an error. So this is about char data type. Finally, and Boolean data type is there. Nothing is there about this Boolean type. So as it can store only two types or two values. One is true, another one is false. What is that? One is true, another one is false. So that here, if I write any Boolean, compulsory here what values has to be there? One is true or false. If I write any other thing, for suppose Boolean x equal to 0, sir, 0 means false, no sir, no sir, 0 means 0 only, sir. In our Java, 0 is 0, 1 is 1, 0 means not false, 1 means not true, it is invalid. Next, Boolean y equal to 1. Sir, 1 means true, no sir? No, 1 means 1 only in Java. So, Boolean, I am going to write y equal to, I am going to write true, sir. Yes, sir, it is true only, no sir? Correct only, no sir? No. If you place double quotes, it acts as a string. It is not possible. So, if I am going to write Boolean, some z equal to capital T ru, it is invalid, because true and false are reserved words, reserved literals, and those has to be in lowercase only. Then what is valid, sir? Boolean sum k equal to true, lowercase, valid. Boolean sum I equal to, for suppose I am going to write false, it is valid. Except these two values, if I am going to give any other value, either 0, 1 or any other value, it is going to give you an error. So only two values has to be stored in our Boolean, as you know that. Finally, with this, we have completed the concept of data types. But one important point is there here, that is very important point. So I will draw you one diagram. This is very important diagram. Byte, short, next one int is there. Next, this is going to be help you in conversions, type conversions. So in next class, I will discuss about this one. But Just after completing the concept of data types and literals, you should know about this one. So int, next one is float. Sorry. After int, we are having one more data type, that is long. Next one float, and finally we are having double. I have written what here, if you observe, I have written what, 6 numerical data types I have written. So I told you what, for char also I can give numbers, so that the char, so see, I have not discussed one point, that is, if I give int x equal to character, for suppose for integer, if I have given a character, what happens, sir? Character cannot be stored in integer, but if I give this, what happens means, for this a, I am having some Unicode called as what, 97. So this 97 is going to be stored in X. So if I give a character to int, that means what? Character can be stored in X. Sir, what, sir? This diagram indicates what, sir? Yes, observe carefully now. Clearly, I am saying that byte value can be stored in short, int, long, float, double. Short value can be stored in int, long, float, double. Int value can be stored in long, float, double. Long value can be stored in float, double. Float value can be stored in double. Double value can be stored only in double. Next, char value can be stored in int. Char value can be stored in long, float, double. That this represents that one. And also we can say that here by this diagram, the automatic promotions can be done. That means what? Byte can be promoted to short, int, long, float, double. Short can be promoted to int, long, float, double, and so on. Sir, why you have connected char to int? Why byte cannot be stored in char? Observe carefully. What is the range of byte? Minus 128 to plus 127. Can I give negative values to the char? No. So that I have not given any byte or short to the char or int. But char can be stored in, there is no problem. Any character can be given to whom? Any character can be given into int, because your Unicodes are what? 0 to 65,535 only. There is no problem. Your int range is what? 214748 36482 plus 214748 3647. So these values are present in this range. Sir, short also I think okay, sir. Short range is what? Minus 32,768 to plus 32,767 only. If you take positive values, is there 40,000 is there? Not there. But in your character range, there is a 40,000. So that I can place char type into int. I can place char into long, char into float, and char into double. Reverse is not possible. That means double cannot be placed in float, long, int, char, short, byte. Float cannot be placed in long, int, short, char, and byte, and so on. If I try to do so, I am going to get an error. So this is about data types. In next class, we can see the concept of type conversion. So if you are having any doubts regarding to today's concept, you can let me know in our chat box. So if you are not having any doubts, you can leave the session. If you are having any doubts, you can send me through chat box, or you can communicate through your mic. Right. I think you are not having any doubts. So you can leave the session. Yes. Yes. Tell me. Someone has pinged me. Please let me know what is your doubt. Anyone? Any doubts? Please let me know. Sir, will you teach Java through? Yes, why not? As it is a basic concept, no need of any programming up to now. If you are going to somewhat up, let us consider data types are completed. In these data types, just I have to show you int x equal to 10, int x equal to 20. Just I have to print the data, so that I have not taken any program. I am ready with program here. I have taken on editor also. You can see that here. This editor you can see here. Notepad I have taken here by having some syntax. Okay, no problem. I will teach it. There is no problem. I will have only if you want, I will explain the concept. For that concept, I will get you the program here at the same time. Yes. Any other? Anyone? Right. Anyway, so if you're not having any doubts, we can end the session. Thank you. Sir, can I end the session?
Yeah, please, sir. Close it. Close it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.